Age gap dating comes with silent contracts. What if I told you that the fantasy of dating a younger woman after 60, the one that seems so appealing in your imagination, often becomes a nightmare that costs men their peace, their family relationships, their financial security, and sometimes even their health? I'm Vernon, and at 67, I've watched this scenario unfold more times than I care to count. Successful, intelligent men who suddenly find themselves attracted to women 15, 20, even 30 years younger, convinced they've found the fountain of youth in feminine form. In this video, I'm going to unpacking the 5 things every man over 60 must know before pursuing a younger partner. These aren't opinions, they're hard-won truths, learned by men who've loved deeply and sometimes lost everything. Make sure to subscribe my channel and turn on notifications, because you deserve a space where your time, your experience, and your future are treated with respect. Are you ready to confront some uncomfortable truths that could save you from years of regret? Because what we're about to explore together isn't just about dating. It's about making wise choices that will determine the quality of your remaining years.
Number 1. The psychology behind your attraction. The ancient Greek concept of anima, the feminine aspect within the masculine psyche, suggests that we're often drawn to external representations of qualities we feel we've lost or never fully developed. When a mature man pursues a much younger woman, he's often unconsciously trying to recapture his own lost youth, vitality, and possibility. But here's where this becomes problematic. You're not actually becoming younger. You're temporarily experiencing a psychological illusion that feels like youth but isn't sustainable. Dr. David Buss's research on mate selection reveals that men who pursue significantly younger partners are often experiencing what psychologists call mortality salience, an unconscious anxiety about aging and death that drives them to seek symbols of life and fertility. What makes this particularly dangerous is that it sets up a relationship dynamic based on fantasy rather than genuine compatibility. You're not loving her for who she truly is. You're loving the version of yourself that comes alive in her presence. The feeling of being admired, desired, maybe even needed. It's powerful, but it's not the same as love. And she's not loving him for his authentic self either. She's responding to the curated version of him, the polished, confident, generous man he believes he needs to be to keep her interested. Both are performing in different ways. Both are feeding off the illusion. It becomes a silent agreement. I'll pretend to be younger, stronger, more secure than I am, if you keep treating me like I matter more than I fear I do. This isn't partnership, it's projection. And the danger is, the longer it goes on, the harder it becomes to tell where the performance ends and the real person begins. That's when disconnection sets in. Quiet at first, then louder, until one day you realized you were never truly seen. You were only ever interpreted, and so was she. The warning signs are subtle but clear. Do you find yourself changing your interests, your appearance, or your lifestyle dramatically to appeal to her? Do you feel like you need to hide or downplay aspects of your age stage or lifestyle? Are you more excited about how she makes you feel than about who she actually is as a person? Do you catch yourself trying to keep up with her energy and interests in ways that feel forced? Ask yourself honestly whether you're pursuing this relationship because you genuinely connect with this specific woman, or because being desired by a younger woman validates something you're struggling with about your own aging process. The answer to this question will determine whether you're building a sustainable partnership or setting yourself up for eventual disappointment. True confidence and vitality come from accepting and embracing who you are at this stage of life, not from seeking external validation from someone who represents what you used to be. But this psychological vulnerability often intersects with social realities that can be equally challenging.
Number 2. The hidden social and family costs. 2 years ago, I watched my friend Robert experience something that broke my heart. His daughter Sarah, whom he'd raised as a single father and who had been his closest confidant for decades, stopped speaking to him entirely. The reason? Robert's relationship with Monica, a woman just 5 years older than Sarah herself. What had started as Robert's pursuit of happiness had evolved into the destruction of the most important relationship in his life. Vernon, Robert told me months later, tears in his eyes, "I thought I was choosing love. I didn't realize I was choosing between Monica and my family. And now I'm not sure the choice I made was worth what I lost." This raises the profound social and family costs that often emerge not immediately, but over time. When we're caught up in the excitement of new romance, we rarely consider how our choices will affect our relationships with adult children, grandchildren, longtime friends, and our position in our social communities. Age gap relationships often create what sociologists call social disruption, a fracturing of established relationship patterns that can have lasting consequences. Robert's situation was tragically common. His daughter Sarah felt betrayed, not just by the relationship itself, but by what it represented, a rejection of the life they'd built together, a dismissal of the values he'd taught her about appropriate behavior, and most painfully, the introduction of a stepmother figure who was essentially her peer. Family gatherings became awkward battlegrounds. But the social costs extended beyond family. Robert's longtime friends struggled with how to interact with Monica. Some felt uncomfortable including such a young woman in activities designed for their age group, while others questioned Robert's judgment. Imagine yourself in 10 years when the age gap has become even more pronounced. Which relationships will be most important to your well-being? Your adult children who will be there through your health challenges and final years? Or a partner who might not understand or be prepared for the realities of caring for an aging spouse? Robert eventually ended his relationship with Monica, not because he stopped caring for her, but because he realized that the social isolation was affecting every aspect of his life. The path back to rebuilding family relationships was long and difficult, and some bridges may never be fully repaired. The people who love you for who you truly are, your children, your longtime friends, your established community, are expressing concerns not out of jealousy or prejudice, but out of genuine care for your well-being. Their perspective might be worth seriously considering. Have you ever found yourself torn between love and loyalty, between your personal happiness and the people who've stood beside you for decades? Or if you're facing that tension now, what are you still unsure about? Share your thoughts in the comments. This is one of those conversations we need to have, and your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. While these social complications unfold, they often intersect with financial realities that many men fail to anticipate.
Number 3, the financial reality check.
At 60 or beyond, most of us are in what financial planners call the preservation and distribution phase. We're no longer trying to double our income, buy bigger houses, or chase high-risk opportunities. Instead, we're thinking about how to protect what we've worked decades to build, and how to make it last through retirement, potential health challenges, and the legacy we want to leave behind. Meanwhile, a woman in her 30s or 40s is usually in the accumulation and growth phase, the exact opposite mindset. She's building wealth, not protecting it. She's thinking long-term, career advancement, real estate, starting a business, raising children, or making major purchases that require leverage and ambition. What makes this particularly complex is that the financial implications often aren't immediately obvious. In the beginning, the expenses seem reasonable. Nice dinners, weekend getaways, gifts that make her happy. But as the relationship deepens, the financial expectations often expand exponentially. Suddenly, you're not just dating someone younger, you're potentially financing an entirely different lifestyle and set of life goals. Dr. Brad Clontze's research on financial psychology reveals that intergenerational relationships often involve what he calls financial role confusion, where the older partner unconsciously takes on a paternal provider role that goes far beyond normal relationship equality. This dynamic can create resentment on both sides and financial stress that threatens retirement security. So calculate not just what the relationship costs now, but what it might cost over the next 20 years. If she wants children, factor in childcare, education, and support through their college years when you'll be in your 80s. If she has career goals that require support, calculate the opportunity cost. If her lifestyle expectations are significantly higher than yours, estimate the long-term expense of maintaining that standard. The most important question to ask yourself is, will spending money on this relationship enhance your security and comfort in your later years, or potentially compromise it? Because at our age, financial mistakes don't just affect our own well-being. They can leave us dependent on family members or social services in ways we never anticipated. A partner who truly loves you will want to protect your financial security, not threaten it. She'll understand that your resources represent decades of work and planning for your future needs, not just current fun and adventures. These financial pressures often become even more complex when combined with the physical and energy realities of aging.
Number 4. The health and energy equation. The ancient Greek physician Hippocrates understood that different life stages bring different physical capabilities and limitations. He taught that wisdom involves accepting and working with these natural changes rather than fighting against them. When we try to force our bodies to perform at levels appropriate for much younger people, we often accelerate the very aging process we're trying to deny. What makes this particularly challenging is that the energy mismatch goes far beyond just physical activity. It's not just about whether you can keep up on a hike or stay out late at a party. It's about rhythm, daily rhythm, emotional rhythm, recovery rhythm. A woman in her 30s or 40s might stay up until midnight scrolling, working, or catching up on messages, while you're winding down at 9:30 with a book and chamomile tea. She might want to travel spontaneously, or attend back-to-back social events while you're pacing your week around when your energy dips and what your body needs to recover. Even how you both respond to stress or illness can be miles apart. You might need 2 full days to bounce back from a cold, while she's back to work in 24 hours. You might want quiet and space when you're overwhelmed, while she needs conversation and stimulation. This creates stress not just for the older partner trying to keep up, but for the younger partner who may feel held back or frustrated by the inevitable limitations that come with their partner's age. The cruel irony was that his efforts to appear younger were actually making him feel older. The constant pressure to maintain a pace appropriate for someone decades younger was exhausting him in ways that normal aging never had. He was fighting a battle against biology that nobody can win, and the effort was costing him the very vitality he was trying to preserve. Is this relationship supporting your health and well-being as you age? Or is it creating pressure to ignore your body's changing needs? Because at our stage of life, our health is not something we can afford to compromise for any relationship, no matter how exciting it seems. A partner who truly cares about you will want you to take care of your health, not compromise it. She'll appreciate your wisdom in managing your energy and health needs, not pressure you to ignore them. But all of these challenges, psychological, social, financial, and physical, ultimately lead us to the most important question of all. What kind of legacy are you really building, and who is it for? We'll explore this in the next Write-Us.
Number 5. The long-term sustainability question. This past autumn, I had perhaps the most experience of my adult life. 5 years earlier, I married Claire. She was 40 at the time, vibrant, full of life, and I was convinced I'd found my perfect companion for this next chapter. We laughed easily, traveled well. The age gap didn't feel like a gap at all, at least not at first. But now she's 45 and I'm 67, and something has shifted. Claire is just hitting her stride professionally, socially, energetically. She wants to travel more, push her career further, maybe even consider becoming a parent through adoption or surrogacy. Her world is expanding. Meanwhile, I find myself thinking about how to simplify my life, downsizing, prioritizing rest, managing health issues that are becoming more frequent and more unpredictable. We're not just at different ages, we're moving in completely opposite directions. And that's when I realized I had walked straight into what I now call the trajectory problem. The reality that people in different life stages aren't just living in different present moments, they're heading toward radically different futures. This isn't something that can be patched with good communication or more effort. It's not a phase to get through. It's a structural mismatch, one that widens over time, not narrows. The ancient Roman philosopher Seneca wrote extensively about the importance of understanding time's passage and planning for the realities of aging. He understood that different life phases bring different priorities, capabilities, and needs. What seems manageable when you're 60 and she's 40 becomes more complex when you're 70 and she's 50, and potentially devastating when you're 80 and she's 60.
As you age, you'll need more from the relationship. More support, more understanding of health issues, more patience with limitations, more companionship during potentially long periods of reduced activity. Meanwhile, your younger partner will likely need less from you and more from life, more independence, more adventure, more energy for pursuits that may become difficult for you to share. My marriage had become a study in this incompatibility. Claire was energized by new challenges and opportunities, while I was finding peace in routine and simplicity. She wanted to expand our social circle and take on new adventures, while I was content with deeper connections and familiar comforts. Most critically, she was just beginning to think about legacy and the future, while I was already contemplating mortality and closure. So when you imagine yourself at 80, 85, or 90, potentially dealing with serious health issues, reduced mobility, or cognitive challenges, do you genuinely believe your much younger partner will want to spend her 60s or 70s managing your care? And even if she's willing, is it fair to ask someone in what should be their prime years to become a caregiver? The sustainability question isn't just about whether the relationship can last, it's about whether it can serve both partners' needs as we age. I came to realize that while my marriage to Claire had brought much joy, it had also placed both of us in an impossible situation where someone's needs would eventually have to be sacrificed. As we come to the end of our time together, 5 critical truths about age gap dating after 60. The psychology behind your attraction, the hidden social and family costs, the financial reality check, the health and energy equation, the long-term sustainability question. But this isn't about crushing dreams or promoting age discrimination. It's about helping you make informed decisions based on reality rather than fantasy. Every choice we make after 60 carries more weight because we have fewer years to recover from mistakes and fewer resources, physical, emotional, and financial, to waste on relationships that aren't sustainable. The men who find the most satisfaction in their later years are often those who've learned to embrace rather than fight their life stage. They seek partners who can truly share the journey of aging rather than represent an escape from it. They invest their energy in relationships that will grow stronger over time rather than those that require constant effort to maintain artificial dynamics. Ask yourself the hard questions like, are you seeking this relationship because of genuine compatibility or because it makes you feel younger? Will your family and social connections be strengthened or damaged? Can you afford the financial implications long term? Is the lifestyle sustainable for your health and energy? And most importantly, will this partnership serve both of you well as you age? If you're currently in an age gap relationship, this doesn't mean it's doomed, but it does mean you should address these challenges directly and honestly with your partner. If you're considering such a relationship, let these insights guide you toward decisions that will enhance rather than complicate your remaining years. Don't forget to like and share this video with other men who might benefit from these insights. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss future conversations that speak to where you are in life and where you're headed. Because true love at our age isn't about recapturing youth. It's about being fully seen and fully accepted for the man you've become and the journey you still have ahead. This is Vernon, and thank you for joining me today.